All right, we're going to officially start this session, so thank you guys for joining Transforming Data at Rheem. I think we'd just quickly start with introductions. Joe Palumba, Vice President of Enterprise Applications at Rheem Manufacturing Company, and we have Elise Haskins. I had to make sure that I used her new married name, so Elise Haskins, Senior Manager, AI and Data at EY. All right, so I am super excited to present data and analytics from a Rheem manufacturing perspective, partnered with Ernst & Young and Databricks. We've done, I think, an amazing job in a short amount of time, and really excited to tell the story today. So just real quickly about the agenda, a little bit about Rheem, who we are, what we do in the industry. We're going to talk about Rheem's data journey along the way. You'll hear me talk a little bit about value, business value, value streams, which really drove the transformation, the journey. Then we'll get into Unity Catalog, what that upgrade process looked like, and the value that it brought to Rheem. A little bit about Rheem. Show of hands. Who has heard Rheem? Does anyone know what we do in the industry? Wow, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. So maybe some facts that you didn't know about Rheem. We are a privately held company, roughly around $7 billion. Just this year, we hit our 100-year anniversary. So if those of you didn't know that, 100 years in the industry, roughly around 14,000 employees, 23 factories in various stages. We are an air and water company. So that you might not know that, but we sell water products and air products, and one of the only companies in the industry that sell both air and water. And we believe that product portfolio really differentiates us in the marketplace and gives us a competitive advantage, especially as air and water products are coming together. Lastly, we are mostly a residential type market, but also growing in the commercial space. You can see we have numerous number one market leading positions across the globe. Our journey. So I want to first talk about what has happened at Rheem before the data space occurred. So Rheem, very quickly, a few years ago, entered into a digital transformation. Customer experience, supply chain, connected products. We took all of this on at the same time. Data was part of it, but I will tell you, in February of 23, when we launched our transformation budget, the first thing that got cut was data. How do you do a transformation without data? Well, guess what? It didn't work that way. In April of 23, we clawed back budget, we clawed back money from the executives, and we built the foundation of an enterprise data platform. So you see April was really when we launched the Databricks platform, and from April through September, this team, Elise and team, built an amazing platform that I think we did in maybe a year's time, 3 years worth of work. So kudos to the Databricks team and the E&Y team for pulling that off. Shortly after that success, we wanted to investigate more efficiency, more productivity, potential cost savings as well. Unity Catalog was then brought to my attention, the team's attention. We entered that journey in September and really kind of evaluated and finished the upgrade in a short amount of time. At least we'll talk a little bit about that in a few slides coming up. So again, in a short amount of time, not to drain all of the success, but for those of you who are entering the Databricks space, entering the data platform world, A lot of great things can be done in a short amount of time, adding a tremendous amount of value to the business. Okay, business value delivered across the manufacturing value chain. So a couple of things here. Our secret sauce was not technical. Our secret sauce was building value stream teams led by business, supported by technology. Really, really important thing. We now have the business value streams poking on us, pulling us, fighting for our time to create data products. Very foundational thing. I'm going to take you through a couple of successes along the way. Sourcing, tariffs, top of mind for everyone in the industry. We used the Databricks platform. We brought together all of our sources of supply, all of our suppliers into a single source of truth in Databricks. We analyzed tariffs for imported material from China on our direct material spend. Within minutes, we received an answer. Funny story. I'm from Boston, so I have to tell a funny story. While we were demoing the power of Genie and the power of the Databricks platform and showing the quick response to tariffs, our FP&A woman, who in parallel was trying to find out the same answer, had to, along the way, get a new laptop, order new hardware, new memory, and 3 weeks later, she got the same answer we did within 10 minutes. So she was not too happy. Second use case, customer. We went after the customer data set, if you will. We created a product called Distributor 360, a method by which to create more stickiness with our distributors by using their data, their point of sales data, alongside our inventory data to create a collaborative 360 view of our collective data. Really, really well received in the industry. And while we were doing that, we said, hey, we might as well take a crack at master data consolidation. I think 3.6 distributor records consolidated to 26,000 in a very short amount of time. Very proud of that. Being at a conference like this, we have to talk about architecture. Not my forte. So quickly, what you see here is, I think, a traditional medallion architecture, right? Bronze, silver, gold. You can kind of see the layers that would impact the medallion layer. You see data sources there, Oracle and Microsoft. That's just to name a few. Those are a few of our larger enterprise applications going through the medallion architecture. I will say that prophecy, part of this architecture, is very much part of a lot of the value that our organization has seen. You heard me mention 3.6 million distributor records consolidated to 26,000. We've had similar success with suppliers. One might think that's a very, very difficult thing to do, but this team has done it very, very quickly. Okay, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Elise. She's going to talk about the Unity Catalog platform and the success we've made while upgrading.
Thanks, Joe. So the decision to move to Unity Catalog was driven by 3 key objectives. One, as Rheem enters the era of their AI transformation, we want to be sure that their data is AI ready. So Rheem is making significant investments in data governance in people, process, and technology. And so through this, we wanted to make sure we're taking advantage of those governance capabilities embedded in UC, like row and column level security, lineage, audit features, so we can be critical to this mission. Second, as Rheem focuses on growth and efficiency, we're constantly being asked, what can you do, data team, to accelerate delivery, to meet the business goals? And so we wanted to make sure we were taking advantage of Genie, the embedded AI features within UC, so then we can increase our productivity with our data and dev teams. And then last, as we saw on the previous slide from Joe, Rheem is very complex. There's a lot of business units, a lot of supporting functions, global, right? And so as we've transformed Rheem into more of a pull model from the business, we have compounding data and AI requests coming to us. I want to see this, I want to see that. I only want to see it for water, I only want to see it for air. So we really have to be intentional and scalable with how we're going to share our data. So let's talk about our approach. We decided to divide the engagement up into 2 phases. First, a 3-week POC where we migrated a low-risk solution. And then second, the project phase where we successfully migrated over 600 tables and views, and we made code changes through automated scripts to over 200 notebooks and over 300 ADF pipelines. So the goal of the POC, first we wanted to validate the recommendations provided by our Databricks SAs, thank you, and we wanted to see what would work in Rheem's environment. From this, we learned that we actually wanted to do all of the migration at once. We wanted to do a big bang approach, and so we actually increased our scope by 60% by reducing our timeline by 4 weeks. It's easier to just do it at once. We didn't want to break it up into higher priority solutions in the beginning and lower priority solutions later. We were considering that maybe because of cost, but let's just do it all at once. Then when we moved into the project phase, we spent time up in the beginning doing that inventory and analysis. So we reviewed our environments, reviewed all of the solutions in scope, looked at all the artifacts we wanted to migrate, used UCX to do this, and we wanted to assess what really needed to be migrated, right? What were backups? What was just testing? What was something that should just stay in dev, right? Developers were playing with it, kind of like their sandbox. And so that helped us clean up our environment. We assessed all the environments for consistency, and we also wanted to review what was UC code compliant. And so what you see here is we actually spent a decent amount of time, or a decent amount of effort in the beginning of the phase of our UC migration. And by doing that, that helps with a seamless code migration and testing and stabilization phase later down the line. So some might call us a little crazy, but we actually decided to go live with a brand new solution for a business unit that was also going live on Oracle at the same time. That Rheem had acquired at the same time that we went live with UC in production. So we actually ran that in parallel, and that would not have been possible if we did not focus that effort up front in our planning, prep, inventory, and phases. And so we were really coordinated, and we actually made sure that we could actually execute seamlessly and efficiently down the line. Okay, so some tips and tricks for a successful migration. I will start with the do's. So you're going to want to create a new Unity catalog enabled cluster with that default catalog set, because that will help with limit your code changes. It'll save time with that. You can just point to the new cluster. You don't have to go update all your queries. So definitely do that. That was a great tip. Second is you're going to want to have a consistent IT point of contact from your infra team. There's a lot of coordination. In that POC phase, right, it was also really helpful. We did all of our UC setup then. We set up the Metastore, cluster, SCIM, catalogs, groups, permissions. So you're going to want to make sure you're always doing that with that one point of contact. You don't want anything lost in communication. And then also, you're going to want to make sure that your dev teams and your technical solution owners have the bandwidth to be able to validate those solutions post-migration, right? Is everything working properly? Is everything functioning? Are you getting the expected results? Are our pipelines running? Okay, because the migration team might not know all of the nooks and crannies and the details that you're going to have to know. Now on to the don'ts. So who here has seen some developers maybe skipping a step? Oh, I see a quick fix. Let me just put that into test. Ooh, I need to get something out right now for this meeting or for this big demo. Let me just put it into prod, right? So you're really going to want to make sure your environments are cleaned up and consistent before you're actually executing that code migration. So whatever you have in prod, make sure you have in test, and make sure you have in dev. And then you don't want to wait until migration to perform those code changes. So sometimes you have to have some bug fixes. There were some deprecated libraries that weren't supported by Unity Catalog anymore. You're gonna wanna make sure you do all those code changes, make all those updates up front before you actually do that code migration. And then last, do not pick and choose artifacts to migrate separately. Migrate everything all at once, whether it's 10 tables or 1,000 tables. It does not impact your effort or your timeline that much. You will thank yourself later, less of a headache down the line. Okay, so now on to the value. We've only had UC enabled for a couple months, and we're already seeing tons of value. We've seen a 20 to 50% reduction in notebook development time for our developers. Yes, there was an AI assistant before UC, but now with Genie, it's better. Before, it was pretty basic, could join a couple tables, but now you can add context to that prompt. You can ask for those expected results. You can actually, and it's taking the power of UC, whatever you have cataloged, and it's adding to that prompt, and it's adding to that code generation. Looking at primary keys, table names. And so you're gonna get a better output. Second, for that supplier use case that Joe was talking about, we actually integrated with Dun & Bradstreet to pull company information and DUNS numbers so we could create a supplier hierarchy. And Tarun over here, actually in the front row, he had to coordinate with our Dun & Bradstreet team, or with the Dun & Bradstreet vendor, to configure the API, troubleshoot, testing, right, making sure it was working. I'm pretty sure they're even trying to have us update it now, right? So a little frustrating, hard to maintain. But now, that data is just available in the Delta sharing marketplace. We can just procure that table, bring that table into the workspace. Now we don't have to go configure that API with D&B. Ready to go, up to 90% reduction in integration development time. Predictive optimization. Who here uses vacuum operations? Right, so now that's automated. We're saving time with our developers. We're seeing a reduced compute and reduced storage costs within Azure. All right, so also with the complex BUs that Rheem has, we're talking about, right, water only wants to see water and air only wants to see air. What we can now apply those access controls upstream in UC, govern that there, and then now that's applied downstream to all of the reports that are accessing that data. So we're seeing a significant reduction in that implementation of BU level security, because instead of having to replicate that row level security, column level security, 10, 15, 20 times for all of those 20 reports that we have live, right? We're gonna do it once, and there we go. And then as Rheem is making those investments for their data governance tooling, right, we're able to jumpstart that with integrating with Unity Catalog and having that lineage already brought into Microsoft Purview. We're doing some POCs right now, figuring out the best places to start within the organization to use Purview, and so this really helps. And then last, I'm sure all of us here have experienced IT teams or infrastructure teams that are very busy, have a lot of competing priorities. Sometimes it's difficult to get on their calendars. And so now we've eliminated that overhead with those from expiring credentials. That's automated now. Those credentials with ADF, Power BI, Azure, right? So that's all automated now. We've eliminated that overhead, and now we don't waste time, waste development time, productivity with our dev team and with the IT team. And so if you've been contemplating on migrating to Unity Catalog, you're a little concerned on, ooh, do I really want to do this now? Do I want to wait till later? Is this something that's going to take a lot of effort? Is it really going to halt my development time, right? I really do encourage you to make the change, do the upgrade. You'll already see your ROI very quickly. And if you have any questions, you can come talk to us after the session. And lastly, I just want to thank our amazing UC migration team. We have a few of them up here in the room. You can stand up. We give everyone a round of applause. This would not have been possible without them. So thank you.